Welcome to another episode of Husbands Watching Housewives. I'm Scott.
And I'm Jeff.
And we just watched an episode of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Yes, reunion part 2.
Yes. So, yeah, it's a pretty good episode.
It was very entertaining. I was definitely engaged and gasping and like, oh, and snap and
you were
making all the noise.
You were just saying that usually with reunions, you're like, yeah, reunion, but not so with this episode.
Yeah, it's like normally by this time I'm like, I'm ready for the season to be done. And this time, I'm like,
Well, there's so much to go over.
So much.
So much we really hope to get to the bottom of, but in typical reunion fashion, we will never get to the bottom of.
It's like, I know there's so many hours and they can't fit so much in the edit, but it just seems like, does anyone actually answer the question? Does Meredith get back to that with Andy? Because I don't think she does.
Now that we have a few more followers and listeners, I think it's my time to reiterate again. I would pay for unedited. I would pay per view to see all the raw reunion footage, just to watch it.
Totally.
Whether it makes sense or not, I would watch it like they do the Big Brother feed.
Exactly. It'd be way better. Yeah, it's like 15 hours. I'm just like, let's really go over this.
Mm-hmm. I'd watch it. So come on, get behind me. Let's start a campaign to Bravo. Release the footage. Not that there's anything that we need to see necessarily. It's probably just 14 more hours of back and forth about, whether someone accused someone legally would stand up in court. All that stuff.
Now, this wouldn't stand up in the court of law. Well,
yeah.
Catholic burger.
Then don't bring it up. So we started off this episode with Angie and her scroll.
Yes.
And the scroll was supposed to prove what?
It proved that Lisa had been trolling her and that they were able to trace the number back to Lisa since that she has since changed.
I understand how two-factor authentication works, but like, how would they receive the notice of, like, we sent them? Well, unless it pops up at the top, we sent a number to the phone number ending in blah, blah, blah.
That's what it would do.
But most two-factor doesn't do that. And I don't know if Instagrams or, which social medias does. Like, it doesn't normally tell you where the number was sent.
The thing is, because Lisa wouldn't stop screeching, it was impossible to hear exactly how they did it. So I believe they did it. I believe it's her. When Andy, and that's, again, a simple question. Andy says, was this your number? Yes, but no. Is this your number? And then let's,
right.
But she just, it's not me. But you said it's your number. Yeah, but if you do this, and it's like, no.
Yeah, she did make it seem like she was hanging her hat on like some technicality of, yeah, but what I put in my phone number, I put in one, I don't know the area code for.
Like she was spoofed or something. Or like a little thing about like, you remember back when all the housewives were getting like, it was called, it seemed like someone was calling from their number, that little thing they brought.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't give a crap about that. Like, let's focus on now. That was, I believe it. I mean, yes, I tend to believe the worst of Lisa Barlow, but I believe that she was trolling her.
It's going to drive me nuts. Can you get your phone and can you Google what the area code is for Salt Lake City? I want to say it's one of those like long, like it's like 802 or something like that. It's a really low on the rotary dial. But no, I'm just wondering if she's just saying like, oh no, when you dial my phone number, you have to dial 1-802 and that just says 802, I'm just curious. Also, I'm an area code nerd. So, yeah, explaining for those who aren't, the fact that area codes were determined by their space on the rotary dial.
You were close. It's 801, 385.
385 is their new overlay, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So, interesting. Yeah, 801. Because apparently, again, for your benefit and anyone else's, area codes were determined based upon like how the population density and how likely it would be that you'd be calling a certain area on the rotary dial. That's why like New York is 212,
right?
And why like LA was 31 something, and then
310.
Yeah, well, 30 would indicate it's not so likely to be used, but like San Francisco was 415 because those are right in the middle there. Yeah. And so yeah, there was all like the popularity. I think that's really neat, like the evolution of how we all have our phone numbers, and now it doesn't mean jack shit, but
right?
It's still to me very interesting. But yeah, I mean, it sounded weird to me that she's like, that's not how my phone number is put in. It's a different.
You're right. It was technicality.
I saw a TikTok this afternoon as well that was one of those ones like, this is a message for all the gays. If you're not gay, just keep scrolling. And he's like, if you're ahead, you can stay. But he's like, do you guys find yourself thinking about Lisa Barlow way more often than you should be? And I was like, no.
No, sure not.
No, I don't. Sure don't.
Sure don't, baby boy. Just no.
Yeah. I mean, I have to say, we're talking about her again more than we'd like to, but that's, kind of
That's because she blew up our Instagram.
Comes to the territory. I can't fault her for that. I mean, I kind of like the views that we've been getting.
No, it was great. I'm not saying it was the Lisa fact. I mean, we were talking about Lisa.
Yeah.
But
it helped.
It's about us. Yeah.
Sure.
Moving right along.
But no, if ever I was in a room with her and she did say, like, you should thank me for putting that on, for commenting on your Instagram, I'd say, thank you. No, I appreciate it. I would be the first to it.
The thing is, like, people always say, like, if this happened if you see something in real life, what would you do? And in real life, I said I like Lisa's hair. I said it to her face.
Yeah.
Or to her back when she turned around. I like her hair. She has great shiny hair. But if I was in a room with her, I would say, look, what I know of you as a character on the Salt Lake, I don't like.
Oh, right.
And I'm just going to say that straight up. I'm sure you're a great person in real life and a great mom, wife, etc., businesswoman. But what I see in this hour of television per week, I strongly dislike. And I'll say that to your face,
Yeah.
And I'm sure, not everyone's going to like you, and there you are.
Right.
I wouldn't back down and, oh no, baby gorgeous, the precious, most amazing person ever.
Right.
Thank you for the views. I'd say, yeah, you probably did contribute to us getting views, but we've also had this podcast for like 2+ years, and you didn't just discover us like Columbus.
Right. I would agree with the things that you're saying. I mean, I wouldn't tell someone that necessarily I don't like them unless I don't like the character that they're.
That's what I'm saying. Character.
I wouldn't go into that conversation that it's sort of nuanced, especially with Lisa Barlow.
If someone confronted me and said, like, I heard you were just talking shit about me on the podcast, I'd say, yes, I was.
Yeah.
Because I don't like you on the show.
Right. I wouldn't have that conversation unless we could have, like, we're guaranteed to have, like, a half an hour of just being able to converse back and forth and be like, please understand, it's like this. Whereas if you were just to say, like, yeah, because they play you bad and she just freaks out on you and you never get a chance because she just keeps yelling, that wouldn't be fun.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to, like, purposely set off to, like, piss her off. It's not my goal with any of this.
And I'm sure she wouldn't also just come out as guns ablaze and like, you're assholes.
Right.
At BravoCon, to any content creator she didn't like.
Right.
She, would say, oh, thanks for watching. And, you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do wonder now who Candace Store is. Or was it Store? Candace Store?
Something Candace, yeah. At first I was like, Candy Off.
No, it was not. It was not Candy Off.
Candace is like, don't bring me into this.
Yeah. It's like, I'm busy on Traders.
Right. My headband.
Busy being a trader.
Right.
So yes, the scroll was trying to.
It was good. It was not enough murder.
It was not.
It did show. It was a lot of the way of showing something that they did. She and Whitney and Heather to figure it out. But apparently years ago, according to Heather, she's like, we knew this and we just moved on.
Right. But I think that's probably why they were so confident and been able to say that, like, we know Lisa's the leak because we can pinpoint it. But again, why this didn't come up, I guess it's their way of saying, like, we knew it, we moved past it, we're over it. But it's like, why that wasn't more relevant when everything with, Reality Von Teese was coming out and all that stuff. Or maybe that's what made it kind of a little bit, I don't know, more like sisterhoody, was like,
sisterhood.
Like, we know you do this too, and now we're going to stop. We're not going to do that anymore, right? Right. And then maybe apparently that's the thing, it did stop.
Truces and pinky swears, they just mean something in the moment and then nothing shortly thereafter.
Yeah. I don't know where we went from there.
It pivoted to Mary and her church and Robert Jr.
Okay.
What you said about, yes, it's not great that he is in jail, but at least he's not getting high and he's not dead.
Right.
And that's just really, it's pretty sad that those are your only option is jail or dead, but I guess she's gotten to the point where there's only so much she can do.
Right.
And this is, as Annie said, she's trying to get him scared straight.
Right.
So it's tough. It's really tough. And I feel like that was, it was rough for her at that moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she was, Yeah.
I have to say, like, I'm sure it's bad, but, mothers will, feel a lot. So, you don't know for sure, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, it's the idea that it's either jail or death seemed a little extreme to me. But
but that's sort of fair reality for a lot of people,
right? It is, but I it feels like he has a little bit more privilege in this world where jail is not his other option necessarily.
I don't know. As a black man in Utah, perhaps not.
But he's got money available to him. I mean, money is a great equalizer.
But honestly, like, money can only do so much.
Well, no, I agree.
Yeah, I don't. If she's saying that, I believe if she's saying she feels some peace of mind knowing he's there and not obliterating himself on drugs and potentially dying in overdose.
Yeah, no, I can agree. I can agree with that.
Yeah,
but I can we also agree that it's a little weird? Because you're like, oh God, no, why would I visit him in jail?
I think it was just an issue more saying that it would be really traumatic to see her son be, behind the glass, and it becomes a bit more real, as opposed to like he's just a really secure rehab.
Right, very secure rehab.
So
I thought it was interesting that Andy even asked about Robert Sr. Like that seemed to be like
that's the only thought that we
right.
We brought him on last week too. Yeah, I mean, Robert Sr. is not going to go to jail. I don't really understand the Robert Sr. at all. Like, does he care about them? Does he care about Mary?
He doesn't care about them. I mean, he's the father of her child.
Well, not that. I mean, I don't know. It's just, maybe it's like he's just so opposed to being on camera and sharing anything that she's keeping it very simple. But it just seems like it does. And also, like, I'm influenced by what I saw on the documentary. Mary, like, deny. Totally expected that. So yeah, I just don't have a great frame of reference for him.
Got it.
So I don't know how.
About the deny about everything. Of course she was going to do that.
That's why I would have wanted more time spent on that, like about her mother, about her sister, about why this keeps sticking. It's not just because it's a Black Pentecostal church. There's more to it. Right. She said, like, oh, it's because we have all these rules and they're not used to that. And I'm like, they're not used to that. Have you seen the Mormon church?
Yeah. Yeah, right.
So, again, I don't know if it's a cult or not. I hope it's not. I hope everyone is free to go as they please and they're not being locked down. I don't know. Yeah. But I do know that I freaking loved how, like, just not agitated, how activated Mary got when it came to that and then pivoted to Lisa. Here's the thing, Lisa. When she said, I don't understand where this is coming from. It's coming from because we're talking about the cult rumors, and Mary didn't have a chance to confront you about this in season 2 because she skipped that reunion. Therefore, she's now bringing up the Cameron thing to the forefront, rest in peace, and she's going to nail you on it. And it was just like, whoa.
But it's also, it also seems very likely, like almost as though Mary forgot it all happened until Andy brought it up. Like, remember when Dan and Lisa called your church a cult? And she's like, oh, yeah, they did. I'm sure she remembered.
She hasn't had a chance to, like, talk about it. It wasn't someone that sees on camera. Remember that time Lisa brought that camera guy around? What do you think about that? Let's talk about that at dinner.
True.
I think it was that. And also, Mary was very tired of hearing Lisa talk. And who knows what hour of the evening this was, but I think that was part of it too. Yeah, we were in a good place before this, and now I've sat down and heard you scream and yell at people for how many hours, and I'm sick of you, and I'm talking about your dark, negative energy, and it was fantastic. Just read her like a book.
Yeah.
Like a Bible. And then she closed the book and was like, eh. It was so good. And Lisa just tried to, when she said, like, I'm so effing sick of this, and Mary said, don't talk to me that way, and Lisa backed down, so it was just fantastic.
Did you enjoy that Lisa said frustrated and then frustrated? How did I say that? I say that word.
It's frustrated, Lisa. There's an R. There's a hard
R. She's been called out on that by the fans before.
Oh, for sure.
Frustrated. It's not that difficult.
Yeah. Well, she's on social media. She sees what we're talking about.
Right.
She's trolling Reddit too, I'm sure.
So I thought it was, is that now when the whole Meredith Lisa, like, alliance came up, or like, but how easy it was for them to get over it?
Yes. When Mary said, it's so funny when Mary is on and just like boom, boom, boom. It's just great to see, because she said, that time when she called you a whore and you screwed half of New York and or slept with half of New York, and just like kept rolling and rolling. I was surprised too. Yeah, they couldn't understand why everyone is surprised that they are still friends when, as Andy said, that whole rant is like on a mug somewhere.
Right.
You can get that off of Etsy on a mug.
And it's a
rundown.
It's a lot to wrap your brain around. And so, one, before I say what I have to think about it, one, Mary's much smarter than we give her credit for, because she knows exactly what she's doing. She didn't come around to that, didn't bring that up, didn't read her that, Lisa this way out of thin air. She was just definitely
I'm about to say she's not smart. I'm saying that she's sometimes unclear, just kind of like woo Mary, and you're like, where did this come from? It's so random. But when she's like latched on, and she's on. Yes.
My thing that I don't like about the whole Lisa and Meredith discussing that was Meredith's entire point was, we got over it, so what's it to them? Like, that was also 4 years ago, and we don't worry about it, so why would anyone else be worried about it? It's like, turn that around and ask yourself about so many things that you bring up about everyone else. And all the things that you've brought up in the past about Angie and Heather, everyone. It's like, no one else cares about it, so why are you bringing it up? So, like, just the way she's just so dismissive, and I think that's what's really bugging me about the entire Meredith of this season, is the way that she's just so dismissive of everyone else being concerned about her behavior. Whether it just be petty concern or genuine concern, whichever way you want to look at it, Meredith just seems so incredulous that, like, I'm not worried, so why are you worried about it? And it's like, well, it's insulting. It's just insulting as a viewer to have her keep leaning back on this whole idea that, I'm not worried about it, so you shouldn't be either. And it's like, well, it's a problem because it's been brought up and, like, you're denying it. Like, that's just adding fuel to the frustration.
The frustration. I am so frustrated. Yeah, it's just she has a narrative and she wants to see anyone else's point of view, and so she makes it seem like you're an idiot for questioning her narrative. And I'm like, okay, but there's multiple points of view, and you just, like, the spinning she does, the lawyering she does is just crazy, and the pivoting to, like, we'll come back to that, Counselor Cohen.
I brought this up before. I had someone in my life before who always, like, they loved arguing. They just loved arguing. They loved a good philosophical debate, and it's fine when it's philosophical. But when it got down to, like, things that they'd actually said and done, they turned just like Meredith and, like, well, the definition of that word doesn't mean what you think it means. It's like, I'm not here to, I'm not here to debate over Merriam-Webster's dictionary,
This is Merriam-Webster.
I'm here to get to the intent of what the hell's going on here and what's behind the way you're behaving. And so when someone just keeps falling back on this legalese, and it's just, it's so frustrating.
So she is beyond fresh. I posted it myself.
No, it's easy to do. Once you open the door and you drop that R from the word, it's just so freeing and liberating. So
yeah, but the main point of it all of Mary calling out people was just fantastic.
No, it was,
and it was needed. It really was.
So where did we get to the Heather telling off Meredith part?
It was when we get to the plane.
Oh, right.
Which before that we have to. I guess it was during the scroll thing is when Andy walked off. Which was, I don't know, it was so, like, hyped up in the trailer, and it was like, okay, you walked off. And he's like, you guys, and they apologized and came back.
Right.
And he came back.
It did seem a little, I don't know, it felt creepy here. I guess Heather took it there by calling him Daddy Andy. Let's
not.
It did seem like he was, like, a father chastising children, which I think he's handled it better than the one year that he freaked out and just started screaming.
Because
he got, he got criticized for how he handled that because he was screaming at women. But
when he was screaming, he was like gritting his teeth. Shut the fuck up, or say.
I just don't think he can win when it comes to
no.
He'll either be too soft or too hard on her.
He really, like, but you can be soft, but you can also hold people accountable. And
we'll talk about him holding people accountable later.
Yeah,
don't worry.
I'm
so frustrated about that.
Hard. So yeah, they get to the plane incident, and it just immediately goes into chaos of she said, and I think at one point it's like, I want to hear from Britani, I want to hear from Meredith, and then just everyone has to jump in. So it's just, they can never have,
Right.
they only have to be the two in the room to have a conversation. And surprisingly, Britani can actually hold her own a bit. So. It's really weird. When she wants to, she can.
Yeah.
Like at the end, we'll get to the main episode or something. But yeah, it's nothing was cleared up. Everything was denied. So, as Bronwyn said, at least on something, and she can't.
She won't. I mean, so the thing that got Heather started was that, you know, he asked the question, how come no one filmed? And so Heather started this whole thing about, like, you know, Whitney asked that in the dressing room this morning or earlier. Why didn't I feel like
she wish you would film?
Wish I'd filmed. The internet's already like picking up on the whole idea that Heather just is inadvertently calling Whitney a piece of shit.
Which Lisa and Meredith, yeah.
But if you look at Whitney, she looks over at Meredith and Lisa when they say that. Oh, now she's calling Whitney, her cousin, a piece of shit.
She called you a piece of shit.
Yeah, as though like that was supposed to be some huge impeachment of her character. Like Whitney was looked at her like, I know it's not. Whitney was like, I'm not worried about it. Like, Whitney was just like, whatever, she doesn't mean anything by it. I'm fine.
Right. Like,
so again, Meredith's fine with it. If Whitney's fine with it, what's it matter to Meredith if Heather's calling her a piece of, you know, all that stuff?
Because as we saw, Meredith and Lisa are like this during the break when they said, we got to have each other's backs.
Why are they so obsessed with us?
Oh my God, thank you for bringing that up. We'll get back to the point. No, Mariah. No, you could use that. I don't like, why are they so obsessed with me?
Yeah.
No, they are not obsessed with you.
They're on a show with you and they're discussing something you did during the year.
They're annoyed with you because you are the Lulu.
Yeah.
You are a liar who continues to lie and manipulate Meredith.
What is that from?
That's just Meredith when she's sick.
Oh my God.
Malicious what? Yeah.
Okay.
No one is obsessed with you, lady, except your fans who are weird.
I like how when they did a flashback to some Meredith talking about the plane, you're like, still a great outfit. You're like,
yes, again, may not like you, but that Silver Confessional, probably the best confessional of the entire season for anyone.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The makeup, the hair, the touch of boob, as we mentioned before, the silver suit, priceless. Like, Salt wins there. I will give her that hands down.
Salt Lake's best dressed.
Salt Lake's best dressed. Best confessional of season 6.
Got it.
Bar none.
Got it. So yeah. The whole thing with Heather trying to say why no one took a picture. It took them too long to get to the conclusion that Britani finally had to chime in, that Andy backed up, like, yeah, like, we agreed we wouldn't take pictures of each other. We wouldn't record each other. That's why, you know.
No one was going to film because of what Britani did last year. So I truly believe the footage does not exist.
I would agree. The other thing that kind of irked me about that is, again, Meredith could have taken ownership of something, but instead was like, well, if what I did was so bad, how come none of you agreed to change seats? After half the internet already kind of suggested that. You know, how come no one came over to stop, you know, to comfort her or to stop me if I was being so bad? And it's like, people are like, we did do that.
As in the flight attendants.
Yes. And I don't know about, you know, the new angle of Britani saying, well, when it got really bad, we were on our descent.
It's a nosedive.
Yeah, she's like, the plane was going down. Yeah. It was a little much. But again, I tend to believe the non-Meredith side of the story, and it makes more sense the way everyone else describes it than, especially because even Meredith, like when Angie was like, I tried, and Meredith's like, okay, yeah, I admit you did. It's like, Meredith knows what's going on, and she just won't say anything. She just won't admit it, and that's just,
She will hold hard to this. I was just venting to a friend. I'm sorry if Britani overheard. Not like she's not shaking her chair, pulling her hair, like, you know, demanding that Whitney bring up the TikTok video that, again, search Seth Affair, Mistress, whatever, you'll find it.
And I have to agree with what Whitney said. You just find your fucking self.
Yes. I'm not Brooks.
Yeah.
I find things for you.
I'm not a secretary. I'm not going to do that for you.
No. So, yeah, cannot own any of it.
Yeah.
And so where's there to go? And I understand it's pure frustration. It's not obsession. It's frustration with you trying to gaslight everyone except for Lisa. and including the audience. And that's offensive. And so they were like, okay, we're not going anywhere, and we try to keep making you do it. We're trying to, have you
give you an opportunity.
Yes, and you don't take it. So here we are. So as Angela said, if we're not friends anymore, F you.
Buckle out.
Buckle out.
Where I think Heather was trying to bring up a couple of good points of like, we were giving you a chance to just even admit to that, and you wouldn't even.
I couldn't even hear her point.
There was so much.
I needed the audio to be segregated for each person so I could hear exactly what they were saying, because it was so hard to hear 7-8 different people.
Little selector knob. Now I want to hear what Meredith is saying, and now I hear what Heather's saying.
What about that, Meredith? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's Heather's point. Sorry.
And I think I don't even remember anymore. I think Heather had brought up a few things where she's saying we're not even trying to say you were doing the worst stuff. It's just you won't admit anything happened. All we wanted from you was acknowledgement that something happened. She said something along those lines, and Meredith just wouldn't.
I think too that when Meredith said, then basically, why are you my friend if you think I'm just this horrible person? And it's well, we care about you. We care about Britani. Heather was trying to do right by both of you. And then you flip on us and make it seem that we're the worst people. Us being Whitney, Heather,
Angie.
Yeah. Well, she wouldn't dare there. But so what are we supposed to do from there? Then I think when she called Heather a liar, and then the screeching thing, which triggered Heather to the point of we're no longer friends, and basically I love when Lisa said that sounds like a threat, and Heather said it is.
Yeah.
It's okay, here we go. Call a threat a threat.
I hope there's some follow through to it.
Yeah.
Because it just seems like there's a lot of stuff, given that whole thing with Lisa and that them saying that they knew about Lisa's leaking and everything. And it just seems like there's a lot of stuff that's gone unspoken that they've all just agreed we're not going to talk about.
Because it's this whole idea of we have to move forward. Right. And, we talk it out and we move forward. It's, the housewife way. But it's really just sweeping under the rug that gets higher and higher and higher until you explode at the reunion and say, I can't do it anymore. She's the leak. She's a liar. Sorry.
Right.
There's no resolution here.
Yeah. That's why you got to talk about got to talk about your problems. Can't deny them. The thing that I don't think I connected so much, and I guess we weren't meant to, with when Britani brought it up on the boat about the video, that I know that Meredith had a problem, but when they showed it on the first time, it didn't seem that much. She reacted, but she didn't seem like it was the end all be all of the world, to the point where she walked off telling Heather, I can't believe you're friends with her. If you're friends with her, then we're not friends.
Right.
That seemed to be much. And, hearing that part of the conversation kind of gives a little bit of color into the fact that Heather, knew what was going on and had messaged her before saying, hey, I know you're, not feeling good about what happened. We could talk later, all that stuff. Makes a little bit more sense, but it just seems like that would have been good information to have. And I'm wondering if we went back and watched that clip, we don't see her saying that. We don't see them walking out saying, if you're friends with her, then I don't want to be friends with you,
The common thread at it, too, is that Meredith spins out a lot on camera. And after a while, it's hard to I believe it.
Right.
Because everyone's saying that it's a thing, after this incident, cameras go down and she spins out. And I think they just cover it up, or they say, well, that's just Meredith and we got to keep filming.
Can we talk about Britani's weak apology for the seizure comment?
That was just weird. Between that and the nothing burger about Seth, I'm no.
So incredible.
That was her weak sauce. But then when we get to the...
I think we're there.
Yeah. No, it's when we get to... I didn't have, as I said,
antisemitism on your
my bingo card.
I
asked about, I don't know what Meredith was going to say. I don't know why Britani walked off. I'd heard about this nail technician incident. I knew a bit about it. It makes sense what Meredith was saying. I don't know if Britani didn't know that he was an anti-Semite, but I don't know. But she says that she learned about it after the fact, after she like gave him a good Google review. Could she be lying here? Yes, she could be. But I don't, despite that, I don't know. I can't, for Meredith, just when Andy said to Meredith straight up, do you believe that, has she done something that's anti-Semitic towards you? And Meredith couldn't say yes or no, and instead she weaved around it and said, I believe this is where this her attacks on me are coming from. So basically you're saying yes without saying yes.
Right.
You know, because if you say yes, then that's a little, what's the word?
Too pointed?
No, not blasphemy, but it's defaming her character.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah. I believe Britani to the extent that like she did seem to be reacting naturally to it. And my eyebrows a little raised because Lisa and Meredith, like, I don't know, she seemed a little, actressy, like her voice.
It was performative when she did that thing with Angie and said that they talked it out, she and Meredith, and I cuddled her like a baby. Although, to bring that up so quickly, part of that might have been true.
And Meredith didn't say anything, didn't immediately, like, at least they didn't show her scowling or scoffing at the idea, because she brought it up twice. Britani said, that is not, like, immediately denied it and was like, we apologize, I felt, and I was, like, pretty much cuddling you after we talked about it. And then she brought it up again. So, I mean, cuddling seems like a weird thing just to say to your friend.
You just gave her a hug, and, Meredith obviously very upset because she had this person in her house, and it turns out they were horribly, horribly anti-Semitic.
Right.
And so Britani could have said, I'm so sorry. This all happens off camera. I'm so sorry. They talked it out. Meredith starts crying. She's upset, given the whole situation. I don't know if Britani was rocking her like a baby.
Yeah.
She implied with her Angie demo. But whatever. Yeah.
Do I believe that this bothered Meredith? I gotta take her at her word and say, yeah, I think it does bother her. I think that there's probably some part of Meredith that believes Britani is anti-Semitic or treats Meredith differently because of it. Yeah. So I'm not gonna speak much to that. I do think it bothered her, but especially if the way Meredith said, like, I need to bring it back to the very first episode while we were filming, where, like, I was uncomfortable being there with her, and I needed to, mention that I wanted to talk to her about it. So
I wish this all happened on camera.
Right. And I think the fact that happened, and everyone agrees that happened, Meredith, like, really felt strongly about it. Do I think that there's possible misunderstandings? I'd like to think so, because, again, the way Britani reacted just very, very quickly and it seemed very natural. And we're all going to agree she's not the best actress to our knowledge. I mean, maybe she is, maybe she isn't. And if she's been rehearsing that for, all week, then okay, hats off to her. But I do think that her explanation was completely valid of, like, of course I didn't know that. I wouldn't have done it. And the minute I found out about it, I reacted. And Meredith's things ended up being like, well, you never called me to reach out to apologize. And again, Britani's answer is, why would I do it? You use the same guy. We were both in the same boat. Like, I wasn't going to call you and be like, oh my God, did you hear about when he doesn't like Jews? Just like.
But when I did see you, we talked it out.
Yeah.
But we don't know for sure because this all happened off camera.
And also, that's the sort of thing to me, it's like, if this is traumatic, I'm not going to call you and traumatize you with it and be like.
And we're not in a good place, nor have we ever been in a good place. So,
yes.
I feel that at some point, Meredith was able to move forward in the season. But to pivot to that, when it's all about the airplane stuff, and suddenly no one cares about the airplane stuff because they're all like, what?
Right.
To the point where Heather was saying, just say you're not she said, are you anti-Semitic? Like, to Britani,
Right.
I'm helping you out here, sister. And the plane was forgotten because Meredith so slickly changed that.
But I think when we get back to it next week, it's clear that it comes back up with next week, and a little bit of John Barlow conversation comes up too, which I can't wait to see.
But with going back to Britani, I understand I think it wasn't just about the Meredith thing. I think, in general, she's just tired of being
the punchline.
Yeah, the punchline or the punching bag. And so she stormed off. I think that's really, say I'm an idiot, say talk about the whole Jared stuff, but to call me an anti-Semite, that's really horrible. And again, she's not making her the victim. I'm not making her the victim.
Right.
Whatever.
Don't call her a victim. That's made it very clear.
That was like out there of like Teresa's like, don't you follow me.
That was the worst, though.
That was horrible.
Don't you follow me? I'm reacting right now and causing a scene and storming off.
And don't you follow me?
Even though that's exactly what I want.
No one followed her. I know Louis followed her.
Yeah.
She came back. But yeah, I understand, why she...
Yeah, there's only so much that you can take. And, I think, I would be frustrated too. And it's the sort of thing, when you're accused of something that you like absolutely is not who you are, like you react very, like how do you react? It's like, how do I, you're just speechless and like overwhelmed. And I can see how Britani reacted to be on the truthful side.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I don't think Meredith, my personal opinion, based on my experience in life, is that Meredith probably doesn't fully believe that Britani's anti-Semitic, but probably gets a vibe off of her that maybe she said some off-colored things or has been maybe racist or, anti this or that in other regards. So it's not a stretch to think that she'd say disparaging things about
her,
Right.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. I obviously I'm getting that same vibe from Britani,
Right.
But, one could think that she's very conservative, and so the two could go hand in hand.
Right.
Yes.
Where I'm going to have the problem is Andy gave so much more nuance in the final 2 minutes of that reunion than he gave the entire Orange County reunion to Gretchen Rossi. And every horrible thing that she said and all the interactions allegedly or not allegedly, Andy was way more like, do you think this? Do you think that? We didn't hear a goddamn word of that when it came to Gretchen and her homophobia and anti-trans comments or anything. And we just got a pass. So that's where I'm a little.
There was no leeway. There was no, could you, maybe thought these things, at one point, or have you ever said these things, perhaps in conversation offline? It was a lot of benefit of the doubt. There was a lot of rehabbing her image, giving her a platform to defend herself, present her dossier, and then pivot to Tamara.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not saying I need anyone to be, held their feet to the fire or just, crucified, whatever. I don't want to bring up religious terminology here with anything. I'm just saying that, like, it felt really noticeable to me that Andy took the time, or at least editing left in Andy's questions about this nuanced topic, when on this other one, nada with Gretchen, nada. So it's interesting. I'm glad he asked the questions. I'm not mad at him for asking, and I'm not mad at him for trying to, get some more depth to it. But where I am mad at is, like, where was all that concern when it was about gay rights, trans rights, and all that?
It wasn't.
It wasn't. It was not like
there was no nuance, and it's just really unsettling, especially.
Yeah. And this is nuance coming from me, who's about nuance as a sack of hammers when it comes to sit down here. So, but again, I don't have note cards and I don't have an entire production staff behind me, helping me get my thoughts organized. This is me off the cuff of watching a show 45 minutes ago. So, I'm just saying, like, I don't explain myself very well here. But
you do. But I think, also too, it's like we're not edited. We're just like speaking freely. And I remember when you brought that. I remember it was like
45 minutes ago.
Yeah. I was like, oh yeah, that really, there was more time taken, and it felt that it put together in a better way, that you heard both sides. Like, Britani, defending yourself. Meredith, what do you think? As opposed to just the propping of Gretchen Rossi and, she is innocent of all charges, guys. She had a drag queen at her Tupperware party circa 2010.
You're right. I forgot. What am I worried about?
Why are we trying to persecute this poor Christian woman?
Yeah.
Throwing these stones at her.
Damn it.
And her glass condo.
Well, she's in glass condo?
No, I'm just Glass House.
Because Glass House, I would say, would be Angie. Her house is that completely.
Glass House would be Lisa and
Oh, that is a deep 90s cut. 2000s cut?
Early 2000s. Like 2000 or 2001.
All right. Well, now I want to end this podcast because that's the biggest groaner ever. God. So
funny though.
But that was funny. I liked it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where we kind of leave off is Britani running off stage, saying she's tired of being basically the low-hanging fruit. And
yeah. I mean, again, so much emotion, so much was packed in. Everyone, I feel Brahma didn't get a chance because it wasn't about her to talk much, but everyone, and neither did Whitney, because I tried to be like, no, right. She's being like shut down, and I'm like, oh, I'm sure we'll get into her whole.
Because does Whitney walk off or get?
She needs a moment.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I think we'll get into her storyline
next week.
Yeah, but yeah, it was just, it was a good episode. It was frustrating at times. It was annoying at times. It was funny. I was cheering. I was snapping.
You were gasping.
So it provoked a lot of emotions, basically.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
All right.
So if they stick the landing,
I hope they do as well.
Yeah.
Shall we talk about all that next time?
Next time.